So Logan Paul just responded to the recent TommyInnit drama in a recent Impulsive episode with KSI. And if you don't know what's going on, if you've been living under a rock for some time now, Logan Paul and KSI specifically have been under fire a lot as of recently. And one of those content creators that made a couple of jabs at Logan Paul was TommyInnit, which kicked off a bit of really petty drama on Twitter, mainly coming from Logan Paul, with a lot of it just seeming mean-spirited and, unnecessary, dragging up year-old messages to try and get an own on TommyInnit like a really young 20-year-old. And this whole Logan Paul TommyInnit situation was arguably way more pathetic and just weird than the DanTDM KSI thing. Because although that's been going on for a month and is still going on with KSI still talking about DanTDM, and by the way, he definitely cares, it's definitely not a bit to promote things, this with Logan Paul just seemed really weird from Logan, and how he was responding was just sending really weird and malicious vibes. But it's safe to say by the end of TommyInnit and Logan Paul's encounter on Twitter, TommyInnit came out looking like an absolute gold speck, and Logan Paul came out looking like something from a Lunchley pack, covered in mold and gross. But Logan Paul has finally made a full proper response in this Impulsive episode and spoke with KSI about this whole situation and what went down, and in today's video we're just going to dive straight into it and take a look at it.
From you.
Yeah.
When you kind of play into that negativity and fuel that fire that eventually only helps you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I get into these battles like for no fucking reason.
I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt before we get to the juicy bits about TommyInnit and Logan Paul, but I really wouldn't take KSI's thing of, oh, let's embrace all the hate, let me respond to all this hate because, it's great publicity. It isn't great publicity. It's arguably ruined his reputation online with fans and just regular people alike, and it tanked how his song performed in terms of actual viewership and not people just listen to it on Spotify and memeing it. So, I mean, I maybe wouldn't take his advice. Not all publicity is good publicity. The whole every bit of publicity is good publicity is an absolute lie and a myth. It's just not true.
Yeah, so with you going at Tommy,
I really had to look myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing?
I mean, I'm sorry to jump in and interrupt, but I mean, it took you several days to realize that or come to that conclusion because you were still leaking year-old messages on Tommy trying to own him when it just reflected even more poorly on you because, you were just outright ignoring him and blowing Tommy off in every single message that you share. And you would think that maybe somebody who's a dad's got a wife, got a whole family, got a whole business, has been online for as long as he has, he would realize that maybe doing this isn't good and that, he just looks a bit like a dick.
That was crazy.
What am I doing,
bro?
You're
just helping him. Yo, I texted him.
Again, I don't like this whole sentiment that, all publicity is good publicity, and here as well, KSI is saying, oh, you're just helping TommyInnit. TommyInnit didn't do this to get, like, a massive boost in publicity or anything like that. He just, called out Logan Paul in more of a jab, jokey way, with a really, really bad and misfortune, ad placement. It's not bad that Logan Paul responded because he responded to him in the first place and gave someone attention that, didn't drive back to Prime or Lunchley. That's not why people are angry, and that's not why it's a bad thing he responded. It's a bad thing he responded because of the way he responded. But, KSI is somebody that's not going to understand that.
JJ, I texted him, and I was like, he's like, what? Because, by the way, this is the same exercise I would do with the daggers he would throw. Yeah. Like, we would sit there, and I would be like, I don't know, man. He sends me this one, I go, hey, man. He's like 13 years old. I need you to do me a favor and just let this one go. And he'll write like, bet, that's facts. And then like an hour later, I see the tweet. And I'm like, bro.
I mean, that honestly doesn't surprise me. Logan Paul comes off as somebody that's incredibly ignorant and arrogant and doesn't listen to anybody else apart from himself. Somebody who likes the sound of his own voice. Him and KSI are very much similar in that way. The sidemen were telling KSI, stop with all this DanTDM stuff, just stop. And KSI continued and has continued to cry about DanTDM in basically every single video he makes, with lots of tweets still coming out about DanTDM and making slight little jabs at him, and Logan Paul's the exact same here with TommyInnit and Mike. Everybody can get hot-headed at times and not think about what they're doing, and make a rash judgment call, and that's just people being people. But when it's like this, there's not you being people, there's just you being big-headed and self-ignorant.
What?
Because I'm a dumbass. I'm a dumbass. And honestly, with Tommy, bro.
Yeah.
Tommy, you hurt me. You've hurt my feelings, Tommy.
I mean, if it was true that, TommyInnit had hurt Logan Paul's feelings from the tweet he made, why didn't Logan Paul reach out initially? You know, he immediately went and made a tweet. He then later reached out to TommyInnit after the dust had settled on all the drama because he realized that, you know, he had kind of messed up with the responses that he was giving. To me personally, that doesn't seem like somebody that, you know, was genuinely hurt, because, you know, you would reach out to them privately because, you know, you've got his private number, instead of immediately making a tweet and making a whole situation out of it. You know, it just wasn't necessary if you were genuinely hurt.
I don't know. I really don't know what I was doing there. But no, to be honest with Tommy, that situation hurt. I felt like inclined to respond because, like, I had a really good relationship with this kid.
I hate to be that guy, but just using the year-old messages that you leaked on TommyInnit, it didn't look like you two had a good relationship. TommyInnit would message you and try to arrange something, you know, meet up, do a live stream, make a piece of content, you would agree, and then there would be no communication. And communication is key for a good relationship. You would casually blow him off, not respond to him, air him, and, you know, it made the messages seem pretty tense. And that all comes from your side. You didn't really have a good relationship with this kid, you didn't really have one at all, because you ruined that. And I think what I find funny most about this situation is he literally self-incriminated himself. He posted the evidence for that, so it's not like you can deny it. Everything about this situation and why it escalated so much is Logan Paul's fault. Logan Paul's fault for how he acted in DMs, how he handled the situation, for the ad placement and everything that was going on with Impulsive at the time. This is Logan Paul's fault. You can't push the blame onto TommyInnit and cry wolf when, you know, he talks out about you. It's just not how it works.
Like, he would hit me up a lot, and we'd engage, and like I thought he was gonna be this successful creator. I still do.
I mean, to be fair, the word engage is really heavily strained here, when, you know, you're not really engaging with his messages, and, you know, it's just him trying to make an effort. But we haven't seen all the messages, so maybe they did engage some more. But, you know, these were just the ones that Logan Paul leaked himself.
And then he just flamed the fuck out of me for an ill-placed ad. I don't see where the fucking ads go in our show, you know? No, but I'm taking the heat as I deserve to get flamed, which is fine. But from Tommy, me and him got along.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was really fine, you would have ignored it and reached out to him privately and settled it, like you said in your message to TommyInnit after everything, like men. I mean, I don't get this whole point. Like, you were clearly hurt. If you or your brand do dumb things, expect the people that are even friendly with you, and especially if you've sort of, you know, aired them and sort of pushed them to the side, expect them to talk out about it. I know, it's simple as that.
You're like,
So
I thought he was my guy.
I thought I did. And so I was a little hurt, and I responded like a child, which was just so stupid.
Okay, Logan, yeah, you got it right. Your response was dumb and it reflected poorly on you. Just stop there, because I'm going to assume he doesn't say anything dumb after that, right?
But
I told you not to.
I should have been promoting Lunchly.
Oh, damn it, he ruined the moment for himself. Maybe instead of promoting Lunchly, you should be checking, you know, how good the quality of your product is, so, you know, the sealant doesn't cause the cheese to get mold. But, you know, that's just me.
Something like, that's the mistake I made. I'm not gonna, I learned, like, I'm just not gonna feed into this shit unless it's benefiting me in some way, and that was just so stupid.
I mean, it wasn't stupid because it didn't benefit you, it was stupid because of how you acted. Again, Logan Paul and KSI only see this from like a monetary gain. They don't care who they hurt or who they use to do it, as long as they're pushing their brands out there. That's all that matters. I don't think this response is entirely terrible, as harsh as I have been. Like, you know, he owns up that how he responded was pretty immature, and the things he did, you know, it was his fault. But I know the tone when it comes down to all publicity is good publicity, and what he's talking about and why he thinks, you know, is pretty dumb about the fact, you know, he could have been promoting Lunchly instead and that, you know, it didn't benefit him or whatever. It just comes from a really arrogant view, which is heavily KSI tinted. But what do you think about Logan Paul's response on Impulsive with KSI? Do you think this response about the whole TommyInnit situation was good or whatnot? But feel free to go and comment down what you're thinking, and while you're down there, subscribe and hit that notification bell. But I've been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video.